After the Brazilian Grand Prix, it's more and more evident that Mick's place in F1 is gone for good, and that he will likely have to wait at least 1 year before he suits up for another team as a starting driver. However, this could be a huge blessing in disguise, with Mick having a very decent chance of opening up ahead of himself as a reserve driver in 2023. Haas is very reluctant when it comes to re-signing the German, and they are likely going to sign Hülkenberg for the 2023 season, so that leaves Mick without a starting seat. So what does the future hold for Mick? And is Haas going to regret the move they are planning to make? Mick's 2022 season hasn't been an impressive one, but quite frankly, the team struggled a lot with reliability issues and all kinds of problems that kept Mick and Magnussen outside of the points. Nevertheless, the Dane has been better and has managed to gather more points than Mick, which is why he secured a deal with Haas for the 2023 season. As of Mick, it seems like the team isn't willing to let go of the 2 crashes Mick had in Jeddah and Monaco, as well as his inconsistency, and they are looking to sign a veteran that is going to bring consistency to the team. Many believe that Haas has made the wrong decision and that the pressure they put on the young German driver was unnecessary. The former F1 driver Hans-Joachim Stuck spoke about this situation, saying that Mick's place is definitely in F1 and that Haas will make an enormous mistake if they let him go just because of a couple of bad results. Unfortunately for Mick, it's still too early for Audi because they will not be there until 2026. If he's not confirmed at Haas, he will no longer be in Formula 1. This is very clear. I also say very clearly that Mick belongs in Formula 1. A young driver sometimes has to make some mistakes because he doesn't know what the limit of the car is. Gunther Steiner was wrong to unnecessarily put Mick under pressure with useless criticism. It's crazy to have a seat and not confirm Mick. If he gets the right car, he will be great in the future. All the other indicators say that Mick is likely knocking on the Haas's exit door and is going to be left without a seat for 2023. Sure, he can hope that Sargent won't receive the super license in Abu Dhabi if the American has a horrible weekend, but that would be literally his last straw to hold on to if he wants to be a starting driver in F1 for the next season. Apart from Williams and Haas, who have made their decisions, there is a team that would likely pursue Mick as their reserve driver for the 2023 season, and that's Mercedes. The Brackley-based team has been linked to signing Ricciardo for this role, but the Aussie is now reportedly talking to Red Bull about being a potential reserve driver there, and Wolff spoke about Mick being part of the team from 2023 on. But before we go into Wolff's statement on Mick, let me tell you about Established Titles, an incredible company that is preserving the natural woodlands of Scotland and helping with global reforestation. This amazing last-minute gift makes you the owner of 1 square foot of land in Edelston, Scotland. And Established Titles plants a tree with global charities, 1 tree planted and trees for the future. That's great, but this gift offers even more. There's an old Scottish tradition of calling landowners lairds, which is lord or lady to those of you who don't live in 15th century Scotland. By gifting someone land in Scotland, you give them the right to call themselves a lord or lady, and they get a certificate to prove it. You can add lord or lady to your credit card, plane tickets, or even your FIA super license. You do have one, don't you? The first 200 people who purchase a title pack using our link will get their plot pretty much directly next to mine. This isn't just an amazing last-minute gift, we could also start our own little Scottish kingdom. Established Titles is actually running a massive Black Friday sale right now. Plus, if you use the code F1Reverse, you get an additional 10% off. Go to establishedtitles.com/F1Reverse to get your gifts now and help support the channel. If you bought an Established Title product with our code, let us know in the comments below so we can shout you out by your proper title. Now, back to Wolff and Schumacher. It goes without saying that Schumacher's family has had a significant impact on Mercedes since the team's official return to the sport in 2010. Mercedes signed Michael Schumacher as one of their first drivers after completing a buyout on Brawn GP, and Michael used all of his championship experience in order to bring the team back to the top. Mercedes took 4 years and the signing of Hamilton as a replacement for Schumacher to reach the top of the sport, where they remained for 8 years. Now, the team has downgraded a bit, but it seems like they have found their groove and are more than happy to have a driver like Mick Schumacher present in their garage. When talking about the possibility of signing Mick as a reserve driver, Wolff said, "I don't know what the exact situation is with Mick at Haas. I believe that the most important thing for him is that he gets a race seat. But I make no secret of the fact that the Schumacher family belongs to Mercedes. We value Mick both as a person and as a race driver, and that's why we would consider taking up this option if he does not get a race seat. But a race seat must be his first priority because he deserves one." So it's clear that Mick's return to the sport will be heavily influenced by what happens at Haas, and the situation in Haas is pointing to the narrative that they are opting out for an experienced driver who has a reputation as a consistent and crash-immune one, and can bring points that will help the team battle for the P6 spot in the Constructors' Championship. There are a couple of stories that add up to this narrative, and the first one is the fact that Aston Martin signed 2 reserve drivers for the upcoming season, Van Dorn and the current F2 champion, Drugovich. This was a role that Hulkenberg did for Aston Martin this season, and he was also able to race on 2 occasions, replacing Vettel, who was positive for COVID-19 in the beginning of 2022. Nonetheless, Steiner stated prior to the Brazilian Grand Prix that it is no longer up to Mick to score points to demonstrate whether or not he has what it takes to remain in Haas, and that the decision has already been made. Rumours are Hulkenberg has been signed, and an official signature from the German is expected any day, as the only thing that's not known is the amount of years he'll stay with the American team. During the Brazilian Grand Prix weekend, Steiner spoke about the drivers' lineup for 2023 and the only vacant seat that's up for grabs, adding, "Hopefully next week we can announce something, whatever we're doing. It's my objective, but I don't promise it. We want to have the driver in that drives next year in the Abu Dhabi test. That's the only thing we want to do. The rest is, we try to make the best decision we can, and time helps to make good decisions. We have done a lot of things, we have done a lot of analysis, what have we done this year and how we can improve the team. That is not down to one race as a lot of people say, even if it's a fantastic race here. We just think about mid-term, not just short-term. Short-term was a few years ago." Overall, Mick's future with Haas is bleak, and the fact that he's been publicly chastised for his crashing actions demonstrates that the team lacks respect and trust in him. So how can Mick improve this narrative, and how can he come back stronger than ever? One obvious way is to sign a contract as a reserve driver with Mercedes beginning in 2023, where he can learn from 7-time world champion Hamilton and maybe, just maybe, hope that the Brit will not extend his contract beyond 2023. Even if he does, a seat can always be secured on an affiliate team, such as Williams in the near future. Audi is just too far away for Schumacher, and even if they were to enter the sport tomorrow, Mick still has no idea whether or not they take him as their starting driver. With that being said, Mick's comeback in 2023 would likely be as a reserve driver for Mercedes, and if he can show that he can perform in a car like the Silver Arrows one, rest assured that his value will increase immediately. What do you think about Mick's options? Let us know in the comments below.